folks. Here we have my 2024 Yamaha Tenere 700. I'm going to kind of go over some of the specs as we watch the video and kind of just the layout of the machine. And then I'll get into some of the aftermarket accessories that I put on there to make it a little more kind of road friendly, as well as to kind of fix some of the stock issues that I wouldn't say issues, but just little nitpicky things that I didn't care for when I got the bike and as I started riding it. And so, right off the bat, 2024 came out with a few updates from the previous versions, and you'll see that when I get into the video screen, as far as the display panel and how it's accessed, and then the options that you have within that panel. And I honestly kind of fumble through it a little bit, but so right off the bat, the Yamaha Tenere, it's a 689 cc liquid cooled dual overhead cam, 4-stroke, 8-valve parallel twin. The compression ratio is an 11.5 to 1. It is fuel injection. The transmission is a 6-speed wet clutch. The obviously the drive is a chain driven machine. And just kind of going into some of the other things on the suspension travel, it's got for the front end, it's got 8.3 inches of travel. The rear suspension, it's a single shock. It does have adjustable preload with the remote adjuster, and then rebound dampening too. And the rear suspension gives you about 7.9 inches of travel. The wheels, they run a 21 front and an 18 rear. And then the stock tires that come with it are pretty good tires. They're a Pirelli Scorpion Rally STR, and and then getting into the brake components, on the front you have a dual 280 millimeter hydraulic disc. They do come with Brembo calipers and selectable ABS, and I'll get into one of the upgrades that I did on the ABS selections. The rear comes stock with a 245 millimeter hydraulic disc with also Brembo calipers. And then kind of some of the dimensions, of the bike. It it is a taller bike, and here you can kind of see me going through the display panels, and it's got two different versions: Explorer mode and Street mode. So it obviously depends on kind of the view that you want to see. It's pretty darn easy. The way you access this is it's got a little wheel spin selector on the throttle side bar, and you just kind of go through that, scroll through it, push it in to select the item that you want or the area that you're wanting to either change or view, and then you kind of just go from there. It doesn't have a ton of options. I had an 890 KTM 890 Adventure R Rally, and that sucker, I got the tech package with it, and that thing had, oh man, it had too many options. Honestly, I was quite confused on how to really set it up, and it had probably, I don't know, 22, 23 different settings that you could do between all the different modes and the options within each mode. And so I really appreciate how much more simple the T7 display and functionality is. Um, Going back into the dimensions in weight and some of the specs, as I mentioned a second ago, it's a little bit of a taller bike. The seat height sits at about 34 inches. The wheelbase runs about just shy of 63 inches, and the length of the bike overall is just north of 93 inches. The width sitting at a shy of 36 inches, and the height is at 57.3 inches. The weight of the bike, although not super heavy, it's not super light. It comes in at a wet weight with all fluids in the bike at about 452 pounds. The fuel capacity on the sucker is 4.2 gallons. I only have 432 miles on the bike, so obviously I haven't driven it a ton, but I've had a bunch of bikes, and I have a number of things to compare it to. So the fuel capacity on it isn't too bad, and the fuel mileage is pretty darn good. But this is just a kind of a view of the bike as a whole, and we'll get into some of the upgrades. All right, I did do a few upgrades to the bike, And the first one is I put on an adjustable windscreen adjustment to it, and that definitely helped quite a bit. It was something that was a great add-on, and not at an expensive cost too. So it's easy to adjust. It's just got thumb screw adjustments. The next one was the Tusk crash bar add-on, and so that it not only looks good, but will protect the bike around the fairings, and then it has some additional options with some of the radiator guards. But I have, luckily not laid the bike down to test these, but I've heard some good stories from folks that have ran into, some trees or laid it down pretty hard, and it fares fairly well. I did go with an upgraded brake lever from Camel ADV. The brake lever on the stock side of things really just felt too, it was really squishy. And it didn't give me a lot of confidence that I had brakes there on the rear brakes. And so I upgraded that to the Camel ADV brake lever. I was very happy with that. Pretty easy install. And then I also added the Camel ADV heavy spring for the foot peg, since I did put on a Tusk foot plate just for the kind of that soft ground, whether it's dirt or even sand, gives you definitely a better footprint to put that stand down and have some stability for the bike. And then also, I did add the Camel ADV clutch pole. The Yamaha Tenere's got it's kind of got a, I don't want to say a weird clutch setup, but on the lever itself, or the clutch lever, it's really there at the tail end of it, and it gives you some adjustments with the Camel ADV clutch plate, or I don't want to say plate, but clutch arm. And so I was very happy with that. Again, a pretty easy install. And then ultimately, as far as my storage and my rack system, I did try the Yamaha, uh, OEM rack system for luggage. It was pretty big and bulky. It would definitely add more protection to your bike, and it would give you a ton of options as far as luggage and strap down capabilities. But I wanted something a little more sleek with the bike, and I didn't need a ton of storage because I'm not doing really, long distance trips. A lot of it's pretty local, maybe 200 to 300 miles away. But so I went with the Kriega bag with the base plate system, and I'm very happy with that. I've used it a number of times. Super easy in and out of the bags themselves. They are definitely highly rated for all kinds of inclement weather. And the system that I have on the bike is an 18-liter on the top side and two 12-liters on the sides. The installation for this was beyond easy. It was nice, and so that kind of wraps it up. Overall, my T7 review for everything. It's a great bike. Um, it can be a beginner bike. I would say if you haven't rode bikes at all, though, I don't know if this would be the bike to start with. It does weigh a little bit. Yeah, and it kind of seems a little top heavy in some instances, but as far as the rideability, especially on the streets, it's super easy. So probably for your kind of your intermediate riders, but it is built to ride hard in the on the off-road settings, and it's pretty comfortable on the roads. I've rode some bikes that are more comfortable on the roadways and stuff, but boy, when you get into it, even on the single tracks or just kind of the forest roads or even some quad trails, this sucker, it'll go and it'll eat up a lot of those bumps and rocks and stuff. And so I've been very happy with it on that end. And yeah, that's kind of my review in a nutshell. Hopefully, you folks enjoyed this and got something out of it. And again, if you did, please like, subscribe, and share this video with others. Help me to grow the channel. And then again, the ultimate mission and purpose of this channel if you've watched our previous videos. And so please join in that journey and that experience. Thank you for your time and efforts towards this. Have a great day.